This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup? Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time?
Miss Aliyah, how you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
You too. She's just looking fabulous.
He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life identity, and took his love.
I never thought about what it would feel like to lose my girl.
Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
She was our age, and it's scary because that could have been any one of us.
That's why they do it, to make you an example, to remind you what they're willing to do, to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened, and yet they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
And she was an angel, and I know that now she's with God.
Is Aliyah your real name?
Aliyah is my real name. It's Muslim Arabic name. It means the highest, most exalted one, the best.
In the year 2001, actress, musician, international superstar icon Aliyah was at the top of her game. Not only was she a prolific pop star, being hailed as the princess of R&B and releasing over 32 music videos by the age of 22, Aliyah was also starring in movies like Romeo Must Die and was set to star in the upcoming vampire horror movie Queen of the Damned.
I've always been a lover of vampires since I was a little girl, and I'm also very into Egyptian artifacts. In my apartment, I have a lot of Egyptian pictures and things.
She had also begun filming for 2 unreleased Matrix sequels. At the turn of the new millennium, Aliyah was the pinnacle of success in the entertainment industry. But it would all come to an end on August 25th, 2001, when Aliyah was only 22 years old. She was tragically killed in a private plane crash in the Bahamas shortly after wrapping the Rock the Boat music video shoot. We'll get into the details of the crash and the rumors and allegations surrounding who might have benefited from Aliyah's untimely demise. But first, let's get into her origin story and her meteoric rise to fame. Aliyah Dana Houghton was born on January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, New York to parents Diane and Michael Houghton. Her uncle was a man named Barry Hankerson, a music executive who is well known for owning a division of Jive Records called Blackground Records.
My sister's a great singer on her own.
This is something Aliyah has always wanted to do.
She never really got the chance to explore that part of her life. She did not want a daughter not to get that opportunity. That was the first practical step, was somebody wanted me to do that. And the next practical step was to figure out how to do that. P. Diddy was a person I convened with. I admired him so much.
Oh, very proud of her. You know, she wouldn't have to do this for me to be proud of her, but this just adds to it. You know, I'm proud of everything she does. She's a beautiful, lovely young woman.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you very much.
He briefly married Gladys Knight. He worked with R. Kelly and Toni Braxton, and he's just a famous producer. What does he do? What's a music executive? So they're just lurking around, sucking off the energy from the artist?
Like a Clive Davis.
Now recently, Blackground Records was embroiled in a legal suit with the legendary pop queen JoJo. And that's not to be confused with JoJo Siwa, inventor of gay pop. Anyway, so this record label, Blackground Records, they get into a huge legal battle with JoJo. In the lawsuit, she accused Barry Hankerson's label for causing irreparable damages to her professional career.
You'd be surprised how many times I've seen, oh my God, I thought JoJo died. Like, she's still out here? Yeah, I'm still here.
She also claimed her contract was signed while she was a minor, so that was a problem. Comment below, maybe we'll do a video on JoJo one day, who knows. Well, we did just do a video on JoJo, so be on the lookout for that. That's the Siwa. Aliyah's mother would push her to pursue a singing career at an early age by enrolling young Aliyah in voice lessons. She would perform at weddings, church events, and in school plays, which we've seen At age 5, her family relocated to Detroit, Michigan, where she attended Catholic elementary school and performed in the play Annie, where she allegedly discovered her love for performing. 5 years old, Annie. Do you think Ice Spice modeled her look on Annie, the orphan Annie play?
Yes, I believe so.
The sun'll come out. Okay, so she's performing at the schools. She's performing at the weddings, the churches, the plays, which, like I said, we've seen Usher and, all of them. Lance Bass, we had Britney, so it's all of them. So 5 years later, by the age of 10 years old, Aliyah had performed in Vegas for 5 nights in a row with Gladys Knight, who we've seen. Aliyah also appeared on Star Search, which many other artists we've covered on this channel also began their careers.
It was a show that my mother and I watched faithfully, and I always wanted to be on it.
Now, Aliyah, you're a great singer. What else do you do?
Well, of course, I love to sing, and I love to dance and act, and I love swimming.
Wow, it was an incredible experience, meeting Ed McMahon, and just being on the Star Search stage, because it was a show that I really looked up to.
So by the time Aliyah was 12 years old, she was basically handed a distribution deal with Jive Records, who we've seen. I mean, it's a trope. I'm gonna have to stop saying it at this point, but it's, Jive Records is like the Backstreet Boys was the first. Like, remember we were at that pool party with the Backstreet Boys, little 13-year-old Nick Carter, he was drinking? They were celebrating signing with Jive Records that night. Usher also would have for a time been signed to Jive as well. This Barry Weiss, I believe, is who was in charge at the time. And she was also signed to her uncle, Barry Hankerson's label. So Barry Hankerson, he was married to Gladys Knight for some time.
I was so proud. I mean, it was really something for me not to sit back and say, that's my niece.
Well, Aliyah starts performing when she's 5 years old, and then by the time she's 10 years old, she's doing all this famous singing stuff, and she's signing deals with Jive Records at 12 years old. So shortly after she was signed to Jive and her uncle's label at 12 years old, she was introduced to R. Kelly, and he became Aliyah's mentor, songwriter, producer, father figure, lover figure, handler, every other type of thing. And Aliyah would release her collaborative album with R. Kelly, titled Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, with the man who was her handler, and when it came out she was 14. And honestly, that should have been a red flag, full stop right there. Dame Dash, he did an interview recently with this Patrick Bet-David fellow, and one of the things he said was, well, weren't y'all listening to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number? Y'all didn't bring it up then. Y'all let that thing chart.
Why would you still listen to him knowing that they said he married a 15-year-old? That was the issue, that you knew it was illegal to be married to a 15-year-old, and the dude could actually put out a fucking album that says age ain't nothing but a number. That's right. And y'all gonna listen to it and not say a word. That's where people should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm with you.
And it's like, good point, except I think when that came out, I must have been about, 11 years old or something. When did this album come out? I was 3 years old, Mr. Dash. 3. I mean, the expectations need to be adjusted. Y'all was listening to it. I probably wasn't. I don't remember hearing this song, or like really, it wasn't in my, maybe it was before my time or something. Anyway, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, 14 years old, Aliyah with, who knows, I mean, we'll put his age right here. He must have been 30 years old. How old was he? 28? When that album came out? 1994.
He was 27.
Ugh, it repulses me. And now, completely unsurprisingly, he's out here defending P. Diddy and his collect call from jail. Shocking. Breaking news. Shocking. New allegations. R. Kelly would appear with Aliyah throughout the press tour following the release of the album. And this is where suspicions about their relationship being more than just producer-artist began. They would wear matching outfits, and Aliyah would act kind of uncomfortable around him, in my opinion.
There's something up, because I've been getting a rundown on the street. Everybody seems to think that y'all are either girlfriend or boyfriend, or cousins, or let's just get the record straight.
I better go get me a white Jeep.
Well, no, we're not related at all. No, we're not. We're just very close. He's my best friend.
Yeah, cool.
Now, who found her?
In the whole wide world.
I found Leah. As a matter of fact, Barry Hankerson, my manager, her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was glowing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here. And everything is all good.
Mm-hmm. I go to performing arts school, so they're very helpful. They've been very cooperative with me. DSA, everybody knows Detroit. And my parents work with me, so they help me keep my grades up.
What do your parents think about your career?
They're very happy for me that I finally got where I wanted to get. I've been working very hard, and they've been a great support since I was a little thing. Used to run around and sing, and they've helped me. They've developed me.
It would later be revealed that R. Kelly and Aliyah got married in secret when Aliyah was only 15 years old.
You know about all the rumors about you being married and stuff like that. Was there any truth to that?
Man, you are so late.
I know, but you know what it is? It's like, I just had to ask it though.
Nah, because like the fans, they know. You know what I mean? Like my fans that I love you, thank you for supporting me. They know. Like you need to get like an old vibe or something and like
right.
The answer, because that's old. I'm single.
Okay.
By 1997, the marriage to R. Kelly was expunged from her record, and throughout the entire time she was coming up as an artist, Aliyah was also attending the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts. And she graduated that same year, 1997, with a 4.0 GPA. In the early 1990s, Jay-Z was a complete and total flop. He was consistently being rejected from label after label, and therefore decided that he could just start his own label since nobody believed in him.
My first album came out in 96. Then it was like, and I had to put the album out myself. Nobody would sign me.
That Jay-Z rhyme, so you can say I'm the profane line.
He was still relatively unknown in the mainstream up until pretty much the early 2000s. He was out here stabbing people back in 1999, I guess. Wait a second. 1999 is whenever that whole club incident happened with Shine. They were just wilding. If true, I don't know. I haven't really looked into the case. All alleged, reportedly. Jay-Z today is this huge mogul, but back then, at the time period we're talking about, he was kind of on his come up. So in their little friend group, pictured here, Aliyah and Diddy were the biggest stars. Just keep that in mind as the video progresses. So now we get to the love triangle, or rectangle. In the year 2000, P. Diddy was quite literally everywhere. He was parading all over the MTV New Year's Eve in Times Square and throwing lavish barbecue and party weekends at his home in the Hamptons. And most of them, they was wearing all white. It was like a JoJo Siwa yacht video or something. It was one of those barbecue and party events in the Hamptons where Aliyah was allegedly introduced to her future fiance, Damon Dash, by her then alleged best friend, Natane Adcock. Now this Natane Adcock is a former model / rich kid from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and then she turned into an actress. But now she's pretty much best known for starring in Advil commercials. Anyway, just 2 weeks before the fateful plane crash that Aliyah would ultimately be in, Aliyah was seen spending time at the summer house owned by Damon Dash and Jay-Z in the East Hamptons. At the time of her death, Aliyah was engaged to the CEO of Rockefeller Records, who happened to be Damon Dash. Damon Dash was rumored to be having an affair at the time, and there were photos and pictures of Jay-Z with Aliyah, with his hand around her waist, and it seems pretty obvious just from the photos from back in 2000, 2001 that the rumors of Jay-Z and Aliyah dating, I don't know to what capacity, were likely perhaps somewhat true. In any event, according to this 2008 MTV News article with Beyonce and 17 magazine, back when she used to do an interview from time to time, she and Jay-Z had begun dating in 2000 when Beyonce was 19 and Jay-Z was 31. Okay, so now we're in the Rock the Boat music video, starting with the week leading up to the shoot. So shooting for the music video started in New York with green screen footage at a studio.
It's going to be tidal waves. So it's the big, beautiful green and blue tidal waves going on in the back. Water around us as well. We're dancing in water.
I'm Eric Pasquarelli. I'm the visual effects supervisor. I work on a lot of videos with Hype Williams. We just recently did Busta Rhymes' What It Is, did Busta Rhymes' Fire about a year ago. On this video, we're going to be making a lot of computer-generated backgrounds. All this green is going to be replaced with ocean waves, and all these X's on the green are going to help the computer to figure out what the camera's doing so that it can duplicate the camera for the computer-generated waves.
Then the crew and team would fly to Miami to shoot more footage underwater at the University of Miami, where apparently Aliyah actually felt scared. She had to film some pretty dangerous underwater scenes for this part of the shoot. So after Miami and the underwater fiasco, they flew to the Bahamas to shoot the beach scenes, which required all this extra transportation of people and equipment. And honestly, there was already plenty of beaches to shoot at in Miami, which this Hype Williams guy had already done. But according to Damon Dash, in a 2021 interview, he didn't even want her to do the music video in the Bahamas. He said that this is Hype Williams' style to, quote, make people spend more money than they have so they end up in a bad place. I don't know what that's about. His words, not mine, but it doesn't sound good.
You know, Hype was making this video, and I was like, I know Hype. I just got off of Big Pimpin', where I had to cut the video, you know what I mean? Cause like to spend bread. So I was like, you know, he's gonna make you do another day. Don't do it. Trust me, it's just so he can spend money, you know? And sure enough, she came home that day, and I had a big house. I rented this house, and she's like, I'm going to, you know, there. And I was like, I just thought that it was it wasn't necessary.
Now, I did some digging into Hype Williams' past, and there are very few actual interviews of the man. He definitely likes to keep a low profile. But in interviews that I could find, he was always praising this guy named Leor Cohen, Jay-Z, Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, Beyonce, but he doesn't seem to talk about Aliyah at all.
Who's your favorite person to work with?
My favorite person to work with artistically, in case anybody cared, is Beyonce, and I'll explain to you why. The reason I say Beyonce, obviously because of who she is, but more so, she just works harder than me.
I mean, maybe he could be traumatized, but I don't really know. The comments section, however, clearly shows that the court of public opinion decided he has some explaining to do. I think for this video, we're just gonna leave it at that, but you can probably get the gist of what the man's really about.
When I started my career, a lot of people were instrumental in helping me get my feet into the business, and they saw that I had potential. People like Russell Simmons and Leor Cohen very early. People like Sylvia Rome of Elektra Entertainment, who really thought I had talent. And the person in charge was a guy that was really young, very smart guy by the name of Leor Cohen. And at the time, he was just really jumping in with both feet to Def Jam and Rush Management. Him and Russell had this thing, and it was really my first opportunity to work with people that were in control of the music business like I wanted to be in control of it. So I went and I got involved. I spoke to Leor and I spoke to Russell, and it was like my dream come true.
He clearly wants to please the powers that be who are in control of the music industry, and he also quite literally said he himself would like to be in control, so do with that what you will.
Business like I wanted to be in control of it.
Now, if all that weren't enough, we still haven't gotten into the actual plane crash incident, which ended the life of the Princess Diana of R&B, Aliyah. After filming arguably her most iconic music video, Rock the Boat, Aliyah was boarded onto a private plane bound for Apalaka, Florida. Aliyah boarded the plane with 7 members of her crew, and immediately after takeoff, the jet fell out of the sky and crashed into the ground only 200 feet away from the runway. Aliyah was killed instantly, while the rest of her crew and Hype Williams boarded a commercial airline back to Florida without her.
Members of her dance team arrived safely on a different plane.
She's a beautiful person inside and out, and we're gonna all miss her deeply.
She will greatly be missed. She had a great impact on many lives, and it was a great experience to share that time.
Just a few years after the crash, the National Transportation Safety Board launched an investigation into the crash that revealed some interesting anomalies. One such anomaly was that the plane was extremely overweight with excess baggage and too many people on board. Also, the pilot, Luis Morales, reportedly had trace amounts of alcohol and cocaine in his system via his autopsy report and was on probation for crack. And that had happened just 2 weeks before the flight. What in the hell they had flying Aliyah, the princess of R&B? He was also not certified to fly, and the jet itself had been cited for 4 other safety violations prior to this particular crash. In August 2021, a highly controversial bombshell book entitled Baby Girl, better known as Aliyah, was released by journalist Kathy Iandoli. In this book, Kingsley Russell, the Bahamas taxi driver who was working also as a baggage carrier on the day of Aliyah's flight, he came out with more shocking details surrounding the circumstances of Aliyah's death. He claimed that Aliyah repeatedly refused to get on the plane once she saw how big it was, and that she then went back to sleep in the car, telling her team she had a headache. According to this driver and baggage carrier, Russell, after Aliyah claimed she had a headache, somebody on her team handed her a sleeping pill, after which she then entered a deep sleep before being physically carried onto the private jet while she was sleeping. Are y'all hearing me? The man said he was packing the luggage, the bags on the private jet. He was a taxi driver for Aliyah. She did not want to get on the plane because she said it was too small. She said she had a headache. This man said they gave her a pill and she fell asleep, and they physically carried the woman onto the plane. I know, the comment section. We've been knowing. We found out about this a long time ago. What have you. I just found out, okay? And it's shocking and surprising to me. Imagine transport yourself back before you knew. That's how shocked I am right now. And he also says that Aliyah repeatedly refused to board the plane. In the book, he's quoted as saying, quote, They took her out of the van. She didn't even know she was getting boarded on a plane, end quote. Another quote, he says, she went on the airplane asleep. That same month, Damon Dash, Aaliyah's fiance, went on a little press run about Aaliyah's death and corroborated the story that Aaliyah had a fear of flying and planes.
And then, when she actually saw the plane, she, we had the Blackberries, and she said, I don't like this plane. And I was like, well, don't get on it. And she was like, well, I got to because I got work to do. She got on the plane, and she always had a very serious fear of planes in general. So she had to overcome a fear to get on that plane on the way there.
He also confirmed that Lenny Kravitz was the one who had loaned the private plane to Hype Williams, and he was upset that Hype took the jet.
But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and that Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So you could ask Hype about that.
That's what I said. Have you ever talked to Hype about it?
Yeah.
And how did that conversation go?
Ask him.
But I also am asking you.
Yeah, but ask him.
Aaliyah's stage production manager had even went on an infamous rant years ago about those close to Aliyah setting her up in the days before her demise.
And my friends who rented that bullshit ass, they put her on a fucking property. I did every single ride show that a man did the last 14 months of her life. And I gave you her business. If I was there, I put the niggas on a few days before. They killed her. And that's what I've been saying. They killed her. Killed her all over the place. Jay-Z, all them motherfuckers.
It's still said to be an accident. If it proved not to be, then the wrath of God will deal with it if it isn't.
Of course, we could not get through a video like this without mentioning Jaguar Wright. She's one of Jay-Z's former backup singers, and she's spoken out many times, many places, about Aaliyah's death.
So who's next? Y'all don't see the lineup?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next. Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one. That's why they do it, to make you an example, to remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other.
I just know that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not.
Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
In the last few years, one of Aaliyah's former bodyguards came out and did an interview about some of these incidents. Now, according to this former bodyguard, Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's uncle, took out 2 insurance policies on Aaliyah before her death, and he tried to cash in on both of them. The man says in this video that it was $90 million and he was in the room where it happened.
After Biggie died, Puffy's still on the top, huh?
Puffy didn't slow down.
Got bigger. After Whitney died, Clive Davis still on top. When Aaliyah dies, I was with Barry when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death. He got paid $90 million for her death. So I was with him on the negotiations. You know what I'm saying? Black Ground Records. He's married to Gladys Knight.
Wow.
So he had Timberland, Genuine, Missy Elliott, and Aliyah is his niece. So he got a settlement for $90 million for her death.
Was that just for his rights or whatever he owned?
What she would have been able to make if she hadn't have died.
And then after he got his $90 million, Aaliyah's uncle, they went and they ate like kings and they stayed in the Taj Mahal Hotel or something, and they were just living it up on the insurance money from Aaliyah.
But that was the settlement. I wasn't in. I was there when we went over to the. He got $90 million. He wouldn't have stayed at the L'Hermitage Hotel. We ate good. And straight in deep mourning, right?
He looked like he had done messed up, and he knew they were going to put it out too. He was like,
"Am I supposed to say that on TV?" Sue me. I ain't got nothing.
So those are kind of the official narratives of sorts, but there's also some other theories, some other pretty much first-hand witnesses, second-hand in some cases, who have different theories and opinions of their own. And these have been labeled conspiracies and conspiracy theories. And honestly, I mean, I hesitate to even venture down the track based on how Dame Dash did act toward PBD. I mean, I thought he was going to come across the table like Jesus in the temples.
But what's the conspiracy?
So then it's not even a conspiracy. So then, R. Kelly and her, then, you don't know the conspiracy. Then Jay.
You're looking for a conspiracy?
Then Jay, no, not at all. Not at all. Rob, matter of fact, you may want to stop Googling. Just stop Googling because he's thinking I'm looking.
Since we're in the conspiracies section of the video, I thought it might be fun just to throw in a little symbolism analysis that I've seen other people making, just reporting on what they said, y'all. I don't take it with a grain of salt. It's the conspiracy section of the video. Hello. In Queen of the Damned, Aaliyah's last movie to come out after her death, it came out after she died. Isn't that what happened to Heath Ledger?
Yeah.
The movie is literally about blood-drinking vampires who work within the music industry that are planning to take over the world. Basically, the plot ends with Aaliyah's vampire character dying, burned alive, just like in the plane crash. And then a new vampire successor takes her place. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just read that somewhere, y'all.
I do not think that Beyonce would be as successful as she was if she didn't have Aaliyah as a blueprint. It is difficult, quite frankly.
But did Aaliyah in some ways kind of know this was coming or perhaps even predict it? In a July 2001 interview with Germany's Die Zeit newspaper, just 1 month before she would die, she disturbingly predicted her own death. She's quoted saying, "It is dark in my favorite dream. Someone is following me. I don't know why. I'm scared. Then suddenly I lift off, far away. How do I feel? As if I'm swimming in the air, free, weightless. Nobody can reach me. Nobody can touch me. It's a wonderful feeling."
And I like the simple things in life, so if I can just stay home and my friends come over, I go to their place and we just hang out and we laugh and we watch movies, I'm really content. And I kind of savor that. You're out and you're running all the time, you're working, and that's wonderful and that's great, but the personal time is just as important. And when I have it, I like to just chill,
So now we get to the love triangle, or rectangle. In the year 2000, P. Diddy was quite literally everywhere. He was parading all over the MTV New Year's Eve in Times Square and throwing lavish barbecue and party weekends at his home in the Hamptons. And most of them, they was wearing all white. It was like a JoJo Siwa yacht video or something. So in their little friend group, pictured here, Aaliyah and Diddy were the biggest stars. It was one of those barbecue and party events in the Hamptons where Aaliyah was allegedly introduced to her future fiance, Damon Dash, by her then alleged best friend, Natane Adcock. Now this Natane Adcock is a former model / rich kid from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and then she turned into an actress. But now she's pretty much best known for starring in Advil commercials. Anyway, just 2 weeks before the fateful plane crash that Aaliyah would ultimately be in, Aaliyah was seen spending time at the summer house owned by Damon Dash and Jay-Z in the East Hamptons. At the time of her death, Aaliyah was engaged to the CEO of Rockefeller Records, who happened to be Damon Dash. Damon Dash was rumored to be having an affair at the time, and there were photos and pictures of Jay-Z with Aaliyah, with his hand around her waist, and it seems pretty obvious just from the photos from back in 2000, 2001 that the rumors of Jay-Z and Aaliyah dating, I don't know to what capacity, were likely perhaps somewhat true. In any event, according to this 2008 MTV News article with Beyonce and 17 magazine, back when she used to do an interview from time to time, She and Jay-Z had begun dating in 2000 when Beyonce was 19 and Jay-Z was 31.
This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here.
So who's next? Y'all don't see the lineup? Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time?
Miss Aliyah, how you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
You too. She's just looking fabulous.
He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love.
I never thought about what it would feel like to lose my girl.
Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
She was our age, and it's scary because that could have been any one of us.
That's why they do it, to make you an example, to remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened, and yet they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
And she was an angel, and I know that now she's with God.
Is Aliyah your real name?
Aliyah is my real name. It's Muslim Arabic name. It means the highest, most exalted one, the best.
In the year 2001, actress, musician, international superstar icon Aaliyah was at the top of her game.